Hey all, Tony Bing here. Hello and welcome back to the channel for another in-depth review for Marvel's Strike Force. So we have another 2.0 version of an in-depth review because Vision with the last patch received some pretty massive changes and it really has made him a lot better than he was upon initial release. Now in this video, so we can see how he's performing, we'll start off with an overview that includes where you go to unlock him and also his tags. We'll then check out his stats. Next up it's the abilities. We then have a look at his synergies and then we finish off seeing where he now places in the tier list as well. So we'll start off then with the general overview. Vision then is a controller class with a very strong emphasis on the tech side of things, which does make sense from a flavour perspective for the character, so it's very nice to work that in there. Now when we do look at his tags, he's got Hero, Global, Tech, Controller and Avenger. We all know the Avenger tag's a very strong one due to the characters within that and the buffs they can offer, so that's great. And the Tech tag is getting stronger by the day. It really is a fantastic tag, and I don't think we're far off, if we're even off at all, from being able to run a full and pretty strong tech team. Now in regards to how you farm them, so at the moment there's only been the top 500 blitz and it opened up for the other tiers in order to get shards for them. He was recently moved to premium orbs. Now I've also included arena in here because it has been found in a data mine that he should be moving to arena, and also so far with the information we've had via the data mines, they've been exceptionally accurate, even down to the exact dates that future events have been launching, so I feel it is pretty safe to say that he will be available to farm there sooner rather than later. Now with the general overview covered, we'll have a look at his stats. When we look at the offensive stats here, Vision's damage is a bit on the lower side, but you would expect that because he's a controller. He's all about helping you control the actual fight rather than actually winning it for you. Now his damage is down at C, so that's certainly very mid-range. His speed is B, so that's really pretty nice. It's 113 his speed sits at, and then finally he's in joint 4th place for focus. That's way up at A, so he's got an exceptionally high focus rating, and that really does help out due to all the debuffs that he will be applying. Now with the offensive stats covered, we'll have a look at the defensive stats. When we look at Vision's defensive stats, some of these are a bit on the lower side, but it does have some very nice utility to make up for it. Now his health is E, so that's certainly way down there. His armour is B, so that's sitting really nice there. His resistance is F, so he's very susceptible to debuffs himself. Now what he does have in his kit that helps him out a lot is that he's got defence up. I won't go into it too much because we will talk about it in the abilities, but that's something that is available to him, and he also has a pretty huge 25% dodge chance once his passive is maxed out as well. Now with the stats covered, let's have a look at his abilities. For the abilities here, we have 4 in total to look at. It's the basic, special, ultimate and also the passive. Now I'll show off the tooltip with the active skills at level 7 and the passive at level 5, and then what I'll actually do is I'll let you know at what level you want to upgrade each of the skills to. Now the first one we'll look at, this is a passive, and this has seen a really large buff since the patch. It's called Density Manipulation. With this you gain 25% extra dodge chance. That's the same as it was pre-patch. What's changed is that you gain defense up for a whopping 2 turns now, and on spawn all tech allies gain defense up for 2 turns as well, so that really is exceptionally strong. In regards to how high you actually want to level this, I would say max this one out and take it to level 5 once we're able to. For his basic, we have another ability that's seen a really nice buff here. This is called Heavy Hitter, so with this you attack the primary target for 260% damage, and when maxed out with this one you chain up to 2 additional targets for 220% damage. Now with this you apply a fence down to each target, and you then apply bleed against tech enemies. Previously the fence down I believe only applied to tech enemies, so they've made this a lot more useful and added in the bleed as well. As is the case with most tooltips, now it does mention that counter attacks break the chain, so just be wary when you do actually use this, using it on a character that's far away from another one that may have counter available. When we look at how high you want to take this particular ability, I would say max it out, because at level 6 you only chain up to 1 additional target, whereas at level 7 that then bumps up to the chaining up to 2 additional targets. So you're doing the 220% damage, but you're getting that offense down, and if they're tech, you're getting the bleed as well. So it's worthwhile maxing out without a doubt. For the special, we have a really nice skill here. This is called Dive Bomb. It's 4 turns to charge and comes fully charged, and you will want to use this at the start of a fight on dangerous targets such as Kingpin to stop them putting on defense up, or offense up, or the likes of Winter Soldier to stop them from using his ultimate. Now, the specifics of what the skill does: you attack primary target for 230% damage and adjacent targets for 160% damage. The important part of this skill is that it applies ability block to primary target and 1 additional target as well. Now, you gain the 1 additional target at level 6, so without a doubt you want to take this skill up to level 6. The difference between level 6 and 7 is only a small amount of damage it does, and Vision is not there to do damage, he's here to help you control the fight. So personally, I would say keep this ability at level 6. The final ability we look at here is Solar Beam, and this has seen a massive buff. Now, this is something that I did actually suggest in the initial Vision in-depth review, how they could make him better, make his ultimate be guaranteed in regards to stripping the debuffs off characters. So it's really nice to see they have implemented that. I don't believe in any way they've watched my video and they've done it from it, but it's nice to see that they were on the same page. So it's actually 6 turns to charge. It comes with 4 charges, so you can use it after a few turns there. With it, you attack all targets for 250% damage, and you clear 2 positive effects on each target. Exceptionally strong when you pair this up with the high focus that Vision does have as well. So the likes of Kingpin, who can put up the offense up, put up the defense up, and then Vision can do damage and just strip it straight away. So absolutely fantastic. Now, you want to take this up to level 6, because it's at that level that you gain the ability to have a 100% chance to strip the positive effects. Now, next up anyway, what we'll do is we'll have a look at his synergies. When we look at characters he can work well with, firstly of course you do have the tech characters due to the 2 rounds of defense up that you can offer them. Now, specific tech characters that can work really well would be Rocket Raccoon, because in turn Rocket Raccoon will give increased damage to tech characters, and then Iron Man, who will give increased crit chance. You then have Captain America, and this all ties into the Avengers tag. Cap can help feed Vision with energy, and in turn Vision will increase Cap's block chance. Finally, you do have Korath. This one is a bit of a risk, but Korath has a 50% chance to apply ability block on the first round on his ultimate. So if you get lucky and you do get ability block on the first turn, paired up with Vision, that'll be 3 characters with ability block on them, which would be pretty crazy. Now, next up, we'll have a look at the characters you want to avoid. When we look at characters you want to avoid here, you've got a few, and they're all for very different reasons. Now, firstly, you have Hawkeye. He has Pierce in his kit, so he works his way through Vision's high armour, but what he has that's really important is the unavoidable damage skill. So that means that Vision can't dodge them, and that's where the bulk of his survivability does come from. You then get Wolverine, he's just purely down to the Pierce alone on Wolverine's ultimate. If he actually is below a certain amount of health, then the ultimate is unavoidable, so Vision can't dodge it. That would give him a heap of trouble. You've then got Gamora, who can act before Vision. If she gets the triple hit on her basic, there is a chance that potentially she could take him out, but with the defense up that it gets at the start of a fight now, that will be a lot harder. It'd have to be a pretty jacked up Gamora for that. Now, finally, you have a character you see very often here. It's Korath. He can act before Vision, and also he has the chance to apply ability block to him, meaning that Vision can't fire off his own ability block at the start of the fight. Now, with all the synergies covered, what we'll do is we'll have a look and see where he now places in the tier list. With this tier list here then, because this is version 2.0 of the Vision in-depth review, I'll actually show off first where he was sitting prior to the patch. So you can see he's sitting at level 3 there, and he was a very mid-range character. He had potential, but he just wasn't doing enough to push him up to the alpha or omega rating at all. Now, if we look at all his pros and cons before we do actually re-rate him here, so you've got his positives, you've got all the different buffs, you've got the offense down to multiple targets on his basic, you've got the bleed against tech enemies, you have that ability block applying to an additional character, and then you've got the ultimate with the clearing 2 positive effects and having a 100% chance to do so. That is incredibly powerful. And then finally you've got the defense up for 2 turns on his passive as well. Now, when we look at his downsides, you do have his low resistance, so he will be more susceptible to getting stunned himself, and if he's stunned or ability blocked, then he's in a whole lot of trouble. You also have the fact that the tech flavour is really nice and it does suit vision, but it does mean he's slightly hemmed into running with a tech team if you want to get the full potential out of him, and this actually affects his rating. Now, this is a difficult one, and he was really going to be 1 or 2 ratings, and honestly I wouldn't argue either way. If someone said he disagreed and he was the rating above the one I'm about to place him in, that doesn't give him away, but I would say that he is sitting as a very high alpha rating, so high in alpha rating that I was almost close to putting the image for him on the little line between alpha and omega. Now, the only reason he doesn't hit into omega because he is exceptionally good now, and I really would recommend worth farming him. But if we look at all the omega heroes bar, I would probably say Kingpin, they're all heroes that can fit into any team. They're not heroes that you have to run really in a specific team or setup to make the most out of them, whereas with Vision you do really have to run them with a certain team in order to make the most of them. One other thing that pulls him down very slightly, now I know I'm sounding a bit on the negative side here, but I'll just reiterate that he is fantastic, but you have his ability block, which is very nice, but when you've got stun, you've got blind, and you've got ability block. Blind essentially wastes the other character's turn, stun delays it, ability block simply allows them to use another skill instead, such as their basic, and they could still have quite a useful basic. The likes of Yondu, whatever, can then strip your buffs and do a high amount of damage there. So that's the reason I would place him as an alpha character. If you believe he possibly would sit in a mega, I wouldn't argue too much with him, and I'd say he's well worth the farm, so fingers crossed sooner rather than later we do see him in the arena store. Now, with that in-depth review completed, I've still got Groot to do, although Star-Lord is out tomorrow, so I think it's likely Star-Lord will probably be the next in-depth review I will cover. So as always, really, thanks for tuning in. I hope this video was insightful, and I'll see you all again soon.